Flip, there we go.
67 points of damage.
All right.
Do you ever feel like the luck or whatever it is that's gotten you forward is going to run out at some point? Or that you can just keep going forward?
I'm pretty worried about myself all the time, but I consider Garnet a protagonist, so generally she's okay.
What? We're all main characters, and
So you're like the main character. Garnet, you know?
we're all the main characters of this story, okay? Fourth wall just punching. Like touches Athlor's elven armor. See, this is plot armor.
Okay, good point.
Arbiter,
Yes, Grandmaster.
you get to jump in on this one.
I come in hot, white, glowing wings flared out. I've got the cheapest metal chair that you could possibly find. It's like I've got 10 or 20 years of repressed rage behind this chair. I'm rolling to hit with this chair. Oh, that's good. That's good. That'll hit. That's 16.
Waves the crypto boy's body. This one yours?
I'm Fiat.
Yeah, this is the crypto boy.
Yes, that one's ours. You can just go ahead and leave him there.
Oh, okay. Drops him.
Also, disclaimer, chat, also not dead.
So do I see both Crystal Pirate and Artificer?
Yes, and 4 ninjas.
Which one of you two is more important? Or who's the boss?
Hey, who's the biggest bully at school? Which one of you is it?
Crystal Pirate like
Walk right up
floats.
into my
He's,
secret base.
he's standing on
punch
this
my
like little
biggest-
crystal thing, and he's just floating there, looking at you with all these colorful crystals floating around him.
I guess I'm the majority share owner, so that would be me.
Alright, I attack whoever said that. Who said that?
Careful. The capybara.
I walk over to him,
Okay.
and I'm tired of watching this. And I slice his throat. And I go, you die with honor. And I keep sawing for a little bit, just so I get the head out. And I hold the head up above.
Blood everywhere.
For you! For you!
18 seconds. Is that how long it'll take before those hellhounds come?
I don't know, probably. They're very fast.
Right. They can smell me.
Time's ticking.
Okay, I'll wait 18 seconds before I go back to the ethereal plane.
Okay.
And I go to the astral plane.
Oh man. Oh, there's jack shit this creature can do about that. Okay. Whoosh. You fade from reality, surrounded by the silver mists.
So what does the hungry dark feel like? Do you smell anything?
I don't know if it's what I'm smelling, but it often smells a little bit like baked goods.
Well, that sounds lovely.
That does not.
Like cinnamony?
Ariana, no.
It's called the hungry dark.
Not hungry for the food. It's hungry for dark.
But it's weird that it smells like something good. If it's
Wait.
supposed to be bad.
Are you hungry dark affiliate too? Ariana?
Huh?
Because you smell food all the time.
But I'm just hungry. I don't think I'm dark.
Think so.
Oh my god! It's hot! Oh, I'm gonna stop you so. Oh, it's so hot! I don't like this at all!
Genuinely.
Genuinely what?
Scared me.
My apologies.
They're assassins. They're basically ninjas, you know? Dexterity is what they're good at. That said, they don't have evasion. They all take the damage in the face. They're all significantly weakened. And you blow a hole in the side of the tent, and Untermaler is going to roll a dexterity saving throw.
Oh shit.
Oops. He's
Oh, these
fine.
damn kids and their fireballs.
He's fine.
Back in my day, you did 5 minutes of trigonometry to make sure no one was in the blast radius.
Well, you guys didn't teach me that. I was born this way, so.
Aria, Garnet said like high fiving. Yes, slay, queen.
Yeah, slay. Actually, slay them.
All right. So he's just standing there minding his own goddamn business when a giant fireball goes off and singes him for 21 points of damage.
Bargo here to smash things. Bargo gonna smash corn into pieces. Bargo have fork with lots of muscles.
Bargo have loose grasp of grammar.
Bargo went to fighting school. Not grammar school.
Fair enough. And why is Garnet upset?
Because I'm gonna die alone out of the lore.
Don't you have like an arranged marriage?
No, that doesn't count.
What, you have an arranged marriage?
I'm in no such relationship that's been null and voided. The terms of the contract are canceled. I'm gonna be alone.
They were on their way to find Sig, Ariana's tutor, the head of magical botany, and someone who had already been a vector for the Infernals in a previous incident. And if Untermaler, the library cat, would get off of my stream deck so I could run the show, that would be fantastic.
Oh, is it Athlor time? Let me at him. Let me at that.
Regards. Regards.
I'll kill that little.
All right.
Thoras!
Welcome, students, to the greatest institute of magical learning in the four kingdoms of Anakra. I am tormented by gnomes, your game master. Joining me is Leg Day, just Leg Day. How's it going, Leg Day?
Just me. I'm good. I am organizing my windows. I'm in D&D mode with like 17 million tabs open. It's gonna be a good time with you and I. So I think this is gonna be a bit of like a timeline jumpy episode. So
We're gonna be a little bit.
We can address some concerns.
Yes, not that there are any concerns. How's your trip so far?
Oh, it's been wonderful. I get to eat really nice food all the time.
Yes, yes.
which is really alien for a British person, but here we are.
All I remember is that hell is where the chefs are British, and I don't remember how the rest of it goes.
The policemen are Italian.
Mm-hmm.
I also do not remember the rest of it.
Obviously, we do not have Crowan or Lemon Kiwi today. So, we are not going to progress the plot. When last we left our heroes on the final day of the month of Gildan, a magical disaster descended upon Ioth's office at the very heart, the top of the spire and the heart of the academy. 4 elemental gates, each of them leading to one of the well springs that provide Ioth Academy with a steady flow of elemental energy, were shut off by howling winds from the other side. Quick magical research revealed that the far-off priest kingdom of Saparziku, dedicated to the 4 winds, has invoked their power to cut off Ioth Academy from the underworld as much as they can. clearly in an act of vengeance for the death of Boreas, who led an attack on this very academy like 3 months ago.
Yeah, he was being perfectly reasonable, Smile. They only slightly lightning struck us. I'm not entirely sure. I think it was because Elnau's now headmistress or temporary in the acting headmistress, and they're not a fan of Elnau.
No, something about war crimes. The academy refused to surrender her. Vindor struck the academy with a massive bolt of lightning, sent in Boreas along with his chosen and the Knights of Terra Nimbus. An enormous battle ensued, during which our young heroes and Headmistress Elnau permanently killed Boreas. But we're not going to advance the timeline from there because we don't have all of our heroes, especially because tomorrow on the main timeline is Sin's Day, the festival, the Feast of Sin, which is also the Feast of Auryx, the Golden Dragon, which is the day that Elnau had promised Mason that she would take him back to his homeland to investigate the mysterious meddling of the Infernal Imago throughout all of his life. So we can't do that because Crone's not here.
Yeah, we don't have the fire aligned character or the Oryx aligned character. So I guess we've got a month of plot time from
Exactly.
the before times to we could work out what's going on with the student stuff. We can have a look at Gilden Verge. There are things we've got to do in the lead up to this.
Absolutely. So we are going full Athalor this episode, and we're going to be very loosey-goosey with the timeline, roughly the last month. Like, just the last month. Maybe since the Feast of Auryx.
Yeah.
So the last 2 weeks or so. But I'm going to go ahead and start with you. What is something that you want to be working on during this time?
Okay, so during this time, Athalor is looking into the procurement of several magical items and miscellanea. Some with the artificers of Fuckham, some with the various shops that you've detailed around, I believe, the Ring, but possibly just the Academy in general.
Mostly the Ring. The Ring has a large open marketplace. I still haven't uploaded the Ring map to Roll20 or to World Anvil, have I? It's because it's not done. I'm actually building it out. It shows all the lots and stuff on it.
This is where I put my Ring map if I had one.
If I had one! Exactly. So, yeah, you had a whole bunch of things. You can go ahead and run through those now. We talked about these a little bit between episodes. Some of these may involve actual roleplay. Some are just shopping. So, yeah. What have you worked on?
Just in terms of general shopping, going by the tea shop, Athalor's buying some tea bags, or the Ioth Academy equivalent, probably just tea leaves for steeping, of Earth Dragon's Eye tea, which has a nice speed boost effect for you mechanics heads out there. It's 5 extra feet of speed, so that's pretty good. With the help of the artificers, you know what? This could probably be an RP thing, whether it's to do with cost or whatever. Athal's going to approach the artificers, probably some lower level artificers, about trying to procure a ring of water walking, because the high level artificers he's working with on the Shield of Underood for his political propaganda stunt. Oh, muted.
+1 XP. I think as an uncommon item, that is something that student artificers could craft if you're willing to give them the time. If you're in more of a hurry, you're going to need to buy that from the open market. What say you?
I guess I would inquire as to the timeline.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pass that over to our student artificers who are in chat and see what they have to say about how long it takes to craft
we're
an uncommon
loosey goosey
item.
this session. They can totally weigh in. Also, your Streamloots cards, I'm just going to say it, they probably have a bigger chance of being actually brought into service straight away in this episode compared to every other one, provided we're not like a major level 50 fuck your plot card.
let's just have Athalor solo Uzul.
Yeah, just me 1v1ing Uzul's bride. Gonna attune to a Blackguard sword. It's gonna be great.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have proficiency with great swords. Everyone knows this. Many people are talking about it.
All right.
3 weeks.
What else are you going to be doing during that time?
I am also gonna go to. I'm gonna see who offers me more for the manual of golems out of the bookstore guy and the magic items trader. Because I figure this is an item that they'd both be interested in, and that Athalor wants to offload so that they can get things that are useful for survival rather than useful for blowing their own brains out.
I have an alternative for you. Actually.
Sure. Sell me before I sell you.
The Wardens.
Ooh.
A clay golem could be highly useful, especially with the threat of Diffraxis. And as news of the sinister horde tearing across the southern desert spreads, the Academy has need to bolster its forces. And a clay golem would not be a bad addition to those forces.
I'd like to roll an insight check as to how likely it is they'd know that this was originally Ioth's. Because I'm about to sell weed to the cops.
Yeah, roll it.
Nice. And as we make our roll, we can talk about our new feature gnomes.
Yes, let me switch.
Let me roll some insight. Hopefully this is still working. How do I do? Oh, 21 on insight. I don't know if it worked. I've got too many things open.
I know. I didn't see it.
But I will add it here. This is +4. I will roll this again. Oh, I got 21 again, which is either
Nice.
incredibly lucky or somehow it knows.
So these are the Astral Athalor dice that Beep designed, right?
Yes, they are. They are new Athalor. With all of his astral theming and his Rialta pilled look.
Mm-hmm. So these dice are from it's 3D dice, but it's like the letter D, and the word dice. So it's 3D dice, which is compatible with Roll20. Beep has been designing like an absolute maniac, making custom sets of dice for each character, for some of the villains and infernals. We'll be showing some of them today. And later on, once the marketplace opens, you'll be able to buy these to support both Beep and to support the channel. And I think not tonight, but at some point we are going to do a giveaway of the Void Sphere dice, which I'll go ahead and roll one of those. Those ones are sweet.
Yeah, go ahead.
And
show those off.
If you sign up for a triple 3D dice account, you can collect them, design your own dice, all sorts of cool stuff. I'll post a link to that later.
Should we roll like a Warden insight check here with the Void
I'll
dice to show them off?
Yeah, let me just swap my kit real quick.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know it was 3D dice. I've been pronouncing like dice.
All right. This is the Void Sphere.
Ooh.
A 5.
If they ask, don't know shit. But their dice look good.
So the contents of Ioth's office were pretty much only known to Ioth. It's not exactly common knowledge. So I think that
you didn't put out an inventory.
Exactly. It was not very well documented at all.
Okay, awesome. So I suppose Athel, if he got a good read on this, which it seems like he does, he thinks that the Wardens would be fantastic customers.
Now, and they're not going to ask for the time being.
Okay.
But they are willing to offer trade or gold.
I suppose they might have more combat-y magical items than the other person.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, Athalor's done some research here and is looking for a Bloodwell vial, which would be helpful in future encounters. But there would be a bit of discrepancy in value here, so we can barter with the wardens for potentially additional items for Mantra and Garnet, which could be named later.
Yeah, they'll keep an account. They'll keep an account by all means.
Yeah, like if these guys have more like combat themed items, and I can get like an IOU for Mantra and Mason, then Athalor would definitely see if they've got a Bloodwell vial, and if so, would see if he could arrange that trade for this Clay Golem manual.
Where was that item?
I believe that was in the Magic Trader under additional items, which would just be other rare items. But if they don't have it, that's also fine.
No, that's fine. I just need the description so I can pull it.
Yes. Generally it has the description of the item itself.
Yes.
That would just be in the compendium. It's not homebrew.
It's Atasha's item. Got it.
Yeah, I'm not pulling any homebrew bullshit on you. This one's real. Ain't that crazy?
It comes in 3 flavors.
Yeah, it's just
oh, it's one of these. Yeah,
it's one of the sorcerer specific ones.
Yeah. That's not bad. And
it's not bad at all.
You wanted the +2 version, right?
Yeah, the rare one. I doubt we'd have a very rare one, and the price would not scale up to the Clay Golem manual, which is probably going to be 15k plus, depending on how well our persuasion goes. It's probably 12k minimum in terms of like 50% of street price. I'm sure at some point we will be showing all the people who did student RP what the prices and availability of these items are. By the way, guys, it's a great time to plug integrations. If you're one of our supporters, you can go on the Discord and take part in student RP. Because we're playing in a persistent location, it means that you guys actually can create NPCs that get interacted with throughout the world. We've got a bunch of people who are playing artificers who we often interface with on screen to make things such as Athalor's current propaganda generation tool, the Shield of Underood. We've got plenty of people who took part in things like dueling tournaments. You can join student societies. It's a pretty cool like semi-AFK RP you can do if you just have a couple minutes here and there.
Another +1 XP. You're raking them in today. Roll 1d100 for me, please.
Okay, let's roll a 1d100. Oh, I can do this in the thing. 1 second. D10X and regular D10?
Yeah, if you just put both of those in, it should go.
Boom. 19.
Okay. That is a hard locked 5,000 gold for that.
Ooh, okay.
It's a rare item, you know.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so 5,000 gold for that. We rolled earlier to determine potential pricing on a persuasion roll for the Manual of Golem's Clay. So do you want to, should we make a persuasion roll here?
Yeah, give me a persuasion check to barter up on the exchange value on that.
Okay, it's going to be +8, and you can do all of this modding in the 3D dice rolling tool. Okay, not amazing. Not amazing.
I think the DC was... before I say anything.
I can use one of my inspirations.
All right.
Why
all
not?
right.
I am currently swimming in inspirations. So why not? Oh, 24. That's
much better.
That's a bit better.
Okay. Yeah, they because it's so useful to them right now, they'll give you 15,625.
Woo, okay, that is a lot of gold. 15,625. I'm just gonna put that in chat for a second so I can do some math on how to add that to the current GP. Does that keep giving to me like gold bars or something?
Oh, no, that's house credit at the moment.
Okay, that is
Yeah.
excellent because I don't think I can carry that much GP.
15,000 15625 divided by 50.
I'm gonna put that
is-
in my inventory as like Warden's Armory credit.
It would have been 312
15.
pounds of gold, by the way.
That would have been a lot of gold. Your boy's strength 12, and he thinks he's looking pretty buff auto mode, but I don't know if that's gonna work. Okay, so we can make that exchange,
Mm-hmm.
and I take 5,000 off the credits
Correct.
for my item, but we still have 10,000 credit for both Mantra and Garnet to pick up a rare or lower item.
You've also been given a Fortune's Favor D8 inspiration die that has to be used this
Ooh.
session.
I don't know if we're gonna have time for that. Crazy. But yeah, the Ring of Water Walking. Can I roll maybe a persuasion to make it a higher priority project for a lower tier artificer?
Yeah, roll for it.
Okay. Vicinity +8. +3, +3, +1, +1. Roll. Oh, 22.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. That can be, we can put a rush order on that.
Nice. Can I tip 50 GP as well? From 100 to 150 GP?
Sure.
Okay. Nice. Hopefully we can rush order that. I don't have a specific use case, but I think it's cool.
You'll have it by next episode.
Oh, excellent. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you, artificers. Okay, I can... cool. I guess that I spent an hour tuning to that vial.
Mhm.
It requires taking a drop of my blood and putting it in there. So Athalor's gonna... Does his blood look any different?
You're the one who did the redesign. What do you think?
That's true. I guess for Twilight Elves, like maybe the blood obviously oxygenates to a red quite quickly. I'll say that it seems to oxygenate a bit slower, and before the stopper's put on, it's a fairly dark and almost like flecked with light kind of blood, or almost like a coagulant sea of stars.
A coagulancy of stars. I did not
Yeah,
spell that right.
if you got a bunch of stars and just put them in some jam, that's the kind of aesthetic.
Starry, starry jam.
Look out on a citrus day.
Yeah. That was a easy shot for me. Easy shot.
Easiest shot of the lot right there.
Okay. What else do you want to do?
That is an hour out of our month.
I'm not super concerned about that.
Yeah. Get an hour out of our month. Good job. I think what we should do next is Athalor is very interested in who and what Rialta is, because he seems to have gained the attention of one of the Titans. I'd love to go to the library and do some research on Rialta first.
Okay. You pass by the book fort that some of the Thuckamites have created. Past the disapproving stare of Untermjauler from high above the stacks. And information on Rialta is pretty available, all things considered. But go ahead and give me a religion check with advantage. You're going to find, I guarantee you're going to find something. This is just going to sort of determine how much you find and in what order, what capacity.
Religion check with advantage. Okay, boom. There's an advantage toggle in the 3D dice. Boom. 11.
Okay. All right. Realta is the moon guide, just as Zalar is the sun rider. She is a patron of prophecy, the moon, compassion. Her symbols include a pearl against a black background, 2 opalescent hands cupped together, or a silver circle against a black background. Her tenets are to comfort the weary, confront cruelty. That's pretty much it.
So she is like unadulterated good guy.
We're going to say yes for the time being.
For the moment, at least. Seems to be like the common understanding. The commoner understanding is that she's pretty good.
She was created by Vindur and Liban, just as Zalar was created by Vindur and Sin.
Okay, so she's one of the Vindur children. Does it describe her relationship with her dad?
It is not excellent.
Strained.
Roll a history check, also with advantage for me, please.
Okay. Disadvantage. What is my +2 history? 22.
Okay. Before the death of Arakura, one of Realta's lovers was Ulkaban, Prince of Owls, a Fey Lord, who would soar up to meet her as she flew across the sky. When Uzul destroyed Arakura, the two of them joined forces. Each night, Realta would fire bolts of celestial light from her pearlescent bow, and Ulkaban led the owls and their kin in war. Tillebek sent his swarms of bats and insects and natural, healthy creatures driven into an unholy frenzy against them. And eventually, one of the swarms bit his wing, and it festered. He rested with Realta through the day, but when night came, the wound still hadn't healed. She begged him to continue resting and not to go out to fight that night, and he still went forth, and he was dragged down to his death by a swarm of innumerable flesh-eating bats. She takes the tears that she weeps for her lost lover in her bow and fires them upon the servants of the Infernals in her wrath. Vindur responded to the death of Arakura by going completely paranoid. He repurposed his beautiful palace of Terra Nimbus into a fortress of war, as you know all too well. From there, he started making his way across the Sky Kingdom, demanding complete obedience and subjugation of all who dwelt there. Elnau's people, the Aurai, the Arakokra, the Cloud Giants, all those who dwell in the Sky Kingdom. He is determined to have complete control and therefore complete security. So what happened to Arakura can't happen to him. Realta has implored him to knock that shit off. And to show like kindness to the people of the Sky Kingdom. And that has not been the case.
So the Sky Kingdom's like as big as the material plane, right?
Correct.
Just above.
Maybe a little bigger because of the way that spheres work, right? You can think of Anakra as a series of nested spheres. The firmament with the Sky Kingdom, the mortal world, the other world, and then the underworld.
Gotcha.
Sometimes just because of this spat between them, Vindur deliberately sweeps the celestial lights away from the Pearl's passage so that she doesn't have access to the power of the celestial lights. On others, she grabs those lights and wreathes the moon in them, letting their colors reflect down on the world. They're not enemies, but they're definitely at odds.
To wind back a little bit on your lore dump here, does this mean that Tillebek is the main threat to the Sky Kingdom in terms of the Infernals?
I'd say yes. The Sky Kingdom, Vindor is Liban physically exists beneath the water. Sin travels around primarily the mortal world, but Vindor is the only one who's like Vindor and Liban have sort of set up shop, and because of that, he is very ensconced in his power. The Infernals, like Imago, could certainly influence the Cloud Giants, for example. The Herald's influence can be felt wherever despair, wherever hope fades, wherever people are ashamed or hate themselves. Uzul's armies, zero presence up there for all intents and purposes. Zethius just requires secrets. So the more subtle Infernals, obviously, they're at work out there. But Tillabek is the one with the most access to just flight and the most sporadic, the most likely to just suddenly influence an enormous area at once.
Ah, okay, gotcha. So generally, for more subtle Infernals like Despair's Herald, their influence was more garnered by Vindor being an asshole
Absolutely.
and creating despair amongst their people, whereas
Absolutely.
Tillabek has the most direct kind of warfare threat
Mm-hmm.
that Vindor is paranoid about.
Correct. And obviously, the one he's most paranoid about is Uzul, who has the blades forged from the earth's blood, the weapons that can kill gods.
Oh, yes. Okay. So definitely seems like Rialta is at least very ideologically aligned with us in the Vindor's a Dick camp. It's a pretty populated club, I will admit. We have to get extra chairs. Would the Tower of Divination have like astrolabe equipment, like telescopes?
Yes. I have a sick map that isn't ready, but I'm going to go ahead and whip it up.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't need to meet that many people anyway. I'd like to see if I can get permission from Tower of Divination to use some of their astrolabe or telescopes on the Pearl, which I assume is generally present during midnight.
Yes. I actually have a moon calendar, so I can figure out where the hell it is.
You are such a nerd. Where's that moon at?
Let's see, the Ioth Academy school calendar. Okay, from Auroch's feast up to Sin's Day, which is the 14-day period that we're covering during today's adventure. It goes from a waxing crescent to first quarter to waxing gibbous, so it's not quite a full moon.
Okay.
In fact, on the Feast of Auroch, it was a new moon. The pearl was invisible for all intents and purposes.
So, I feel free to not answer this if I wouldn't have got it in my research. Is the shape of the moon a property of the fight between the celestial lights of Vindor and Rialta, or is it a reflection of the sun?
It is a reflection of the cyclical nature of the moon, which represents birth, life, death, and renewal. It's another iteration of the cycle in yet another part of creation.
Okay.
One of the
function like a
functions
reflector like our moon.
Correct. It has its own light. The light of the moon is different from the light of the sun in terms of its properties. One would say that the sun emits radiant energy, whereas the moon emits celestial energy.
Okay, Athel's actually going to bring his bedroll up here then.
Okay.
And possibly do that new sleeping thing under the stars after having a look. What do I get from just being at the telescope and looking upon the moon regardless of its phase? Can I see Rialta carrying it? Does she have like a corporeal presence?
She does have a corporeal presence, but generally she's not visible, even with magnified equipment like that. Like she's there, it's just not practical to see her in that regard. Give me 1 second here. Let me just turn off dynamic lighting on this map. And voila.
Ooh, bloody heck. That's quite the telescope.
Diffraxis probably has something better given that they are literally the city of lenses, but here we are.
Oh, do you reckon they would appreciate some of the books I stole from Diffraxis?
Entirely possible.
I could totally bribe my way in here using those stolen books.
Give optical science books from Diffraxis to divination in exchange for access to the big telescope. Also, there are no stars. There's just like Aurora Borealis gone nuts. If you've played Skyrim and you know how colorful the sky is at night, think of it like that, except without stars.
Okay. I see. When looking out at places that aren't the moon, do I feel anything looking into what I assume is now the Hungry Dark?
That's not what you're looking at. You're looking at the firmament.
Oh, it's like a solid barrier on the top, like an eggshell.
Yeah, it's completely surrounds Anakra. It prevents the light of that world from shining out into the Hungry Dark. It makes it not only very difficult to pierce, both physically and magically, but it also makes it extremely hard to find. Up until the death of Arakura, it was probably undetectable.
Okay, so the Aurora Borealis, is that taking place literally on the firmament, or is it like a mid-air thing, like on
Above the Sky Kingdom, below the firmament?
Gotcha. Ooh, we're learning some geography things today.
Yeah.
Love some geography.
Get your planar metageometry on.
That's true. I guess we'll have a look at the moon. Do I feel anything in particular staring at it?
Give me a perception check with advantage for using a gigantic telescope.
Oh yeah.
Also, this anytime that you see orreries like this thing right here, these are almost always representations of the four kingdoms. So at their very center is the other world, or is the underworld, otherworld, mortal world, overworld.
Okay.
All
right. 14 for perception.
14. The moon literally looks like a big pearl. Like its surface is actually opalescent, translucent, glowing with this light. It is comforting. One of the functions of Realta is to temper the mercurial highs and lows of her parent Liban, the sovereign of the seas. That's why the moon affects the tides. It's to sort of balance and reassure and not fully calm down, but like temper.
She's the Liban Lexapro.
Yes, exactly. It's a very important job, and someone's got to do it.
Someone has to do it. Okay. Cool. Feeling that, I continue to stare through this thing, and I speak the name of Realta.
Okay. Roll 1d100 for me.
Okay. Boom.
39.
39.
You don't feel anything immediately.
Okay.
Just the word passes from your lips and sort of falls in this echoey chamber and passes on to nothingness.
I take it I'm not in here alone.
You could be. It depends. Like,
oh, have I met the replacement for Master Redknop? And is there like a bust of him around here that I can pay my respects to?
There's definitely a bust of Redknop around here. A formal replacement has not yet been. All right, why is this happening this way? Hold on. I have something I have to fix.
Things must be attended to.
There we go. Light of the Pearl. Advantage on insight and wisdom saves for 1 hour. That's a Realta card.
Ah.
And the clock starts now.
On insight and wisdom. Okay. Well, with that around, I'd like to go to the bust of Redknop, and I'd like to just insight vibe check the like upper department of divination here to see like how they move around this bust. Like, are there often glances to it? How are they like collectively coping right now.
Roll it with advantage.
All right. D20, my insight is +4. Advantage. Roll. 20.
30-20.
Dirty.
There's a lot of shame and guilt. These are the people who are supposed to be in charge of knowing things and detecting things, and they did not prevent this from happening. We don't like looking at it.
Apple will light some incense under it and press digitate the smell of Danishes that he used to always serve in his office. Just giving his little bit of respect over to Red Knob, and I believe after that would go up and like is it like a balcony around the outside of this telescope?
There's none on this map, but I would say there's absolutely a balcony somewhere nearby.
Okay, Apple's gonna go out, put down his bedroll, and try and sleep under the moon on the balcony. Can have one of those weird dream things. Those are still new. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'd like you to roll a wisdom check for me with advantage, please.
Okay, just straight wisdom. I don't know if it works in the dice while I have the character sheet popped out.
Oh, that might be why it's not rolling, because it's popped out.
That would probably be it.
Yeah, because
okay.
the plugin is connected to the tab.
All right. I'm gonna show the people the dice here, but the roll is a 9.
Very unlucky. Profoundly
very
unlucky.
compared to these ones, which are much better.
Oh man,
it's not a 20, it's a 9.
Okay. And you have nightmares. Some of them roiling, confusing, the way that dream logic never really follows, even though while you're in the middle of it, everything seems to make complete sense. But you have nightmares of the sage standing under a hungry sky. The firmament, the celestial lights, the clouds, all blocked by this roiling sea of flesh. Beaks and mouths and claws and mandibles, constantly just gasping and mouthing at the air. Desperate, relentless, slowly descending down to crush the sage and eat everything.
Apple tries to stand with the sage if he can move.
Roll a charisma check.
This is 5. Ooh, a 7.
You gonna let that ride?
No, I'll burn one of my inspos. Why not? I've got an absolute treasure trove of these. All right, let's try and get better. 17, much better.
Okay. All right. You are standing next to her. She is holding up her lantern, casting that scintillating teal light in all directions. And if you didn't already realize it, Upon standing near this light, you immediately realize that you're dreaming. Maybe you already knew, but the light of truth seems to work here, whether it's real or just a figment of your imagination.
Could I make an intelligence check to see if I'm aware if she's entered my dream or if I've just moved around the dream realm to meet her?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is +4.
A 6.
6.
You cannot tell.
Okay. I would like to try and cast slow on the encroaching sky.
Okay. Roll intelligence or charisma, your choice.
Oh, let's do a charisma. 18.
Okay. You cast the spell at the sky. The creature is unaffected. The spell, as written, as it functions, is powerless against it.
I looked to the sage. What do we do?
We're not ready. We can't slow it. We have to prepare.
How do you prepare to face that?
She sets the white wood staff that she holds on the ground and holds one hand up to the sky as the gossamer robes that she wears falls down, revealing the silver tattoos that glow with light beautifully traced along her arm. She reaches up and runs her hands through the celestial lights themselves, scattering them and leaving a trace. She twists her hands and grabs them, and then pulls with all of her might. And with strands of countless changing colors peeling themselves off of the sky down towards her. With great effort, she brings them down here, and then a trembling hand moves to offer to put them in your hand.
Athalor outstretches both his hands like a cupping motion, like the one he saw on the Rialta symbology, and makes a motion for the power to be handed over.
She sets it down in your hands, and you can see the strain. It's like it's struggling to pull itself back up to the sky. She sets it in your hand, and with her other hand, closes yours over it, squeezing hard. And then lets go. There is a crash of thunder, and a burst of lightning, and a roar of outrage from on high. There is a shadow that passes over you of a fortress hanging impossibly above you. And the sage's arm goes the color of the night sky. Flecks of that same celestial light run through her like veins that you can see through this night sky flesh. Her hair radiant, soft, flowing around her. Her eyes, two pools of opalescent light. And then the dream is gone.
Oh. What did it feel like in my hands?
It absolutely wanted to leap out of control. It was just completely full of life and energy, and it was wild, and it felt like a jolt of adrenaline. It felt like hope. It felt like the excitement of seeing your friends. Except taken way, 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 way up.
Did it feel like a power source?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. An incredible amount of power.
Okay. Is Athlor awake now? Or...
Yes.
Looks around. Is anyone else in the room? On the balcony, even?
No one's on the balcony.
How long did I sleep for?
4 hours. Standard trance. Some habits, even if they aren't built into you anymore.
Habits die hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought I was going to try and requisition a flying carpet and go to the spire to talk to the sage.
Okay. Middle of the night. Garnet's probably down training with Elle now in the crypts beneath Tarselmoor.
Mm-hmm.
As you fly your way over. It feels cold. It's not that cold. The climate control in here is still working, but something about the night feels brisk.
When I get that, I don't knock on the door.
Okay.
If I'm going to like the sage's regular chambers. Athalor is concerned that she may still be in that dream and it might still be important.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, I crack the door as quietly as I can, and I use prestidigitation to generate like a smell of like an underoody vegetable wrap or something.
You see the sage. You see the light of the sage's lantern glowing. You see her sitting on the floor, cross-legged, in a trancing position. Her eyes are shut.
Athalor is like, okay, the smell was hopefully announcement enough, and tries to like come and just like two-legged kneel on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna stare into the lantern. While she's trancing, can I see if I can discern anything of the nature of the lantern?
Sure.
Is it a product of Luminius?
Yeah, give me like an Arcana check for me, please.
Okay. This is a +7. Ooh, that's a 10. We are not rolling well tonight. Are there 3D dice guys in here? Can you fix my dice, guys? I don't think they're weighted heavily enough for.
Hey, you
for my
got a
plot
20
armor.
earlier. You just didn't take it because you rolled off a roll 20 first.
Hey, honesty is the best policy unless you want to win.
You have the D8 that you can cash in if you want to.
You know what? Why not? Otherwise, I will forget about it. So let's add a D8. You can roll these dice individually, which is very nice. Bam. That is a 3, so 13.
Okay. It doesn't remind you of anything that you saw in your visions of Luminius.
Okay. Does it look like Dukalfar craft?
Yes. certainly the lantern is of that make. The magic of it, the magical patterns, influenced by the Dok Elfar style. But no, you're not sure.
Just in terms of my own memory, is the luminosity reminiscent of any of the bioluminescent mushrooms that we were served previously?
No.
Okay. All right. Athalor is going to just silently and politely wait, as he figures that she might be in a very important dream, but also he needs some. Oh, I'll tell you what I will do. Athalor is going to use his mage hand to not give as much actual touching feeling, but use it to try and cast guidance on the sage.
Okay.
Which I got from my Artificer Initiate feat. Yay.
Hey. It's everybody's favorite Baldur's Gate spell.
It is.
Yes,
in case she needs to add it. Did you see the same dream?
She opens her eyes. What dream?
The massive flesh, mouths, teeth, beaks coming down on us. You took the celestial light from the sky and put it in my hand. You said we needed to prepare.
We do need to prepare. I was not in your dream.
I saw you though. Can't you move freely between these pockets of the dream realm?
I can, Athalor. But now that your mind taps into the great unconscious, you need to know that you carry your friends, your foes, your memories with you. And those things flow from you to populate the dream. If you should meet Mason while sleeping, it may simply be the memory, the version of Mason that you keep within your heart and mind. Not his actual mind, not his actual presence.
How will I know if I meet a projection of you or the real you when I'm in a dream?
It is possible to sift through what you see and what you experience to find what is part of you and what is from without. Once you've realized that you are not awake, you can extend that same awareness to your surroundings. It is important to ensure that you can defend yourself should you be intruded upon.
I know you've given us rudimentary training, but this is still very new.
I understand.
Am I responsible for that thing coming here?
No.
When I was in the realm beyond, I saw like a string, a tether that drew that thing to this world being burned away. I didn't see others. I don't know how else it would have been coming this way.
You have seen more of it than I. You know more than I. but I suspect that it caught when the Sovereign of Stone was slain, and the firmament cracked, and the gaps between worlds widened. The smell of her blood wafted out into the hungry dark. That thing craves it. It's following that scent, like blood in the ocean, like a shark, all the way back here. I don't yet understand what it is that your uncle did to you, Athalor. But given the hunger that you felt for that same blood, and the changes that were made to you, perhaps even before your birth, I fear that you were a tether, a conduit. And every time that you consumed that blood, it gained speed.
And either it or my uncle gained power. When I consumed that blood, my mind expanded and my own viewpoint of 3 dimensions, we expanded so far beyond it. I could see, feel, hear, deduce anything.
The blood of the earth is life. It is the most distilled form of vital energy. It is power to any who partake of it. But the nature of that power is simply an intensification of one's own nature. That power coursed through you and it amplified your pre-existing powers and capabilities. If some of that power passed through the link that you shared with your uncle, he too would have partaken of it. The power itself would not have wrought those specific changes. It merely intensified what was already there.
Could I ask for some advice?
She nods.
How does it feel? How do you come to terms with the idea of being the only one? Ever since what happened in Brontha, I don't feel like I'm an alpha anymore. I have the name on Underwood, but I'm severed by circumstance or by divine power from most of my family. And since we lost Ioth, it feels like you're also, he decides not to say alone.
There's a long pause. An elven pause. For creatures that live hundreds of years, and in her case, thousands. The passage of time is, well, it's diluted. She thinks about it probably for a few minutes. I've given myself no other choice. I have a duty to fulfill.
Could that duty ever be done? Finished? Completed?
She shakes her head.
It's been thousands of years. Have you ever considered an apprentice, a successor?
Tilts her head. I'm the sage to my entire people. What I learn, I share with them. When in time I fail, someone else must take the burden.
Perhaps better to prepare one of the Dokar Far to stand alongside you so you don't have to fail.
Nothing lasts forever.
Nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry.
She doesn't answer you.
Hathor leans back slightly, contemplates a lot of things from the last few days and weeks.
Mm.
What do you know about Rialta?
How much time do you have?
Elven time.
Mm. I've held counsel with her. Roll an insight check for me, please. And that thing is still in effect. You still get the buff.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Rialta, for buffing me on things about you. 13. You know what? We're in time skip mode. Why shouldn't I use a lucky dice?
There you go. Spam it.
Hey, that's better. 22.
Her eyes flicker for just a moment towards her lantern.
Ooh, interesting. A gift, mayhap. A bestowment. A deal. Athelor lets it continue.
What was I saying a moment ago?
They held counsel once.
We've held... No, she didn't say once. She just said we've held counsel. She sees further than most.
I met one of her representatives in my dream. Warrenwa. They helped in your rescue.
Yes.
They seemed they gave me the impression that Rialta was going to become quite important to me, to us. But I don't know if I've met her. Does it count as meeting her every night when I see the pearl? Like Bronthans with the sun?
The sun shines on the good and the wicked alike.
As does the moon.
Yes. After the night of 1,000 eyes, I left for some time. What I'd seen, what I'd learned, when I became aware of what is coming towards us. I went to the Pearl. I held counsel with the Moonrider.
And she exceeds your concern for 1,000 eyes?
Yes. It is a force unlike the Infernals. utterly alien, not yet fully comprehended. And it is coming. Perhaps not as fast now that you've been severed from it, but it is coming. And of all those in these 4 kingdoms, there are few I trust more with their safety than Raelta. And there are few I trust more to make hard choices when they are necessary than Raelta.
That's something you two have in common.
When the hunger descends upon us, we will not be unprepared.
My uncle can't be allowed to remain 3 in this realm, can he?
She shakes her head.
I understand.
I know.
Athor dips his head slightly. She knows. How do we prepare?
For you, you continue your studies. So that when the time comes that you need to be someone, you are ready to be that person. There's more, Athalor. But it is contingent upon this first.
And the direction of my study is find my talents lie in abjuration and planar geometry. These are necessary, valuable, important.
Very.
Then my legacy does not lead me astray.
No. We are all of us more than our blood.
What should I do about Underroot?
What do you want to do?
I don't know. I wonder if I'm like you, if the duty that I was born with should supersede desire, weariness, and freedom. But I save Underwood as well if I am prepared to face this threat.
Yes.
And save everyone else.
Yes.
I would let my family's legacy, influence, and possibly existence wither and die.
Perhaps it will not come to pass.
I think politics has a way of happening whether I like it or not.
It does. But the division of choice is not yet clear. There are still many things that are unknown, many things that have not happened yet, that cannot happen yet. You are still young, Athalor. And while every day, every month carries with it new threats and new burdens, and time turns faster than it ever has before for us, still there is the possibility of a long life before you. Many times over what you've already lived. And in that time, much can change. Perhaps leading your home city will be the right path for you. Perhaps that will be what your city needs. Perhaps that will be what you need to continue your growth. Perhaps it won't last forever. Perhaps it will never come to that. But if you continue to prepare yourself, to hone your mind, your magic, and all the other things that you've been learning, the things we don't teach in this school, and regardless of which of those paths materialize, you'll be better prepared for it.
Do you know the Kothramoy Moor?
I have known many Kothramori more through the years.
Do you trust them? Those who might replace my father while he's absent?
I am sure there are those among them who would be harmless. Perhaps some who can be guided towards a beneficial path. My duties do not constrain me to this place or to any one city. I have only passed through your home a handful of times while you've been alive, and a handful in the generations before.
I have need of your wisdom on one more matter.
She nods again. Patient, unperturbed.
Athalor takes Ioth's quill from his belt and sort of places it in front of her. What should I do with this?
Give me another insight check with advantage, please.
Okay, thanks, Realtor. You're popping off today. 21.
Okay. There is sorrow in the back of her eyes somewhere. She reaches out one luminescent silver tattooed hand and sort of brushes with two fingers the quill as it floats there. As you see fit. It's a tool, Athalor.
It's a symbol of Luminius.
It's the implement of someone who would have destroyed this place to recreate Luminius. The City of Light is gone. What remains of it was rewoven into these four kingdoms. Ioth's undoing was his refusal to let go. And this is a shackle by which he bound himself to that burden. let it serve a better purpose.
Athelor smiles slightly and then sort of like wafts it back to himself. You should very much consider Ar's refusal to let go as a downfall when you next visit home and think about a successor. And Athelor bows his head deeply and starts to stand up.
Cheeky. She doesn't say anything. She eyes you.
Thank you as always for your wisdom.
Nods her head, shuts her eyes again, and then transitions, walks across the boundary between the conscious and the unconscious with one foot in either world as she returns to her dreaming.
Athelor leaves as quietly as possible. Looks at the quill. And can I roll an insight check on myself?
Yeah, absolutely. With advantage. The light of the pearl shines upon thee.
And then I guess I'll leave some character development on your doorstep. Would I have been willing to let go of this item?
What'd you get total?
18.
18. What matters to you?
Paul doesn't know what matters to him at the moment. Well, a lot of things matter to him at the moment. That means he also has he's currently in a crisis of priorities.
Mm-hmm.
And he feels less connection to being potentially heir to be Alpha now that he feels that he's had to leave what he was born as behind and become something less perilous to the greater world. At the moment, he feels far more like a vagrant or vagabond who is kind of has having a great destiny behind you and a great unknown in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Can that destiny ever be reached again? And do you think that destiny would be a boon for the world? Because it felt like where he was going was certainly going to be a place of power, but also one of immense peril for everyone around him.
Whoa.
Yeah, the woe. And I guess he kind of asked for Sage that to see if he would be able to willingly unshackle himself from this, even though he believes in his hand a fantastic implement for good.
She said to let it serve a better purpose than be a shackle.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to part with it, what would you do with it?
It's a fantastic question.
Teenagers don't always make their way all the way from A to B to C.
Yeah, it's one thing to get rid of it, but also to use it. I guess Apple considers giving it to Elnar, but wonders if it's appropriate for a Shadowcaster. Because he's in two minds about that, because he wants her to be this legitimate and, as far as he's concerned, good-souled new master of Ioth Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And that to legitimize her in any way possible would be a boon. But also, the concentration of power with a Shadowcaster is something that's a little bit reticent to him, even if he knows that Elnau herself as a personality is not one that's viewed evil.
Mm-hmm.
The other options, his friends, but he's also equally worried that other teenagers would be just as silly with this as he is. The Sage herself, she is of Luminius and might be able to have greater control over it than any other given being. Or try and find a way to meld it into the apparatus of the sphere. But is that more of a selfish act that's for Ioth Academy than for the world?
The scale of Athalor's vision has changed of late.
Yeah, he has zoomed out considerably
Mm-hmm.
from being about Athalor to about both the Academy and the greater firmament.
It is weightless. It always feels completely weightless. But at this moment, that weightlessness in your hand is oddly heavy. It is late, and you have not truly slept.
I guess
If you-
returning to Tarsimore Hall
Mhm.
should probably be on the docket right now, and I'm sure more uneventful dreams.
Indeed, they are. And as Athalor drifts off with many questions on his mind, and the future full of 1,000 scattered paths, each of them obscured, we will leave him to his sleep and return in a few minutes here on Book of Dawn, Ioth Academy.
Angel, vouch for me. We've helped each other.
Thoras does not know the angel, but Thoras is also confused as to what is going on.
As am I. Help me if you can.
Alan, I have not known you much time, but you seem okay.
A rousing vouch. Thank you, Thoras. You remember when I let you borrow my car? You remember when I gave all of that money to orphan children? You remember when when I gave you those spare tickets that I had to that concert?
Thoras does not remember much. Thoras can only remember falling through the sky and looking very cool.
You have carte blanche aside from that.
Cool. So thinking kind of like, because it's pocket dimension and shapeshifting, but maybe it's kind of like a Venom-esque arrangement where it's a dimensional parasite that so like when he absorbs things into his hand, maybe it's like a fucking, oh no, I've done it again. Maybe it's a teethy hand that like a toothy hole.
Could you please just once not consort with otherworldly powers from beyond the scope of human imagination? Just once, light day.
I refuse. There's too much empty headspace here with my lack of a brain to not have another thing in there.
They call out to her in Draconic, and she responds.
Wait, do I also see Sventisco for a brief second through the orb?
Roll a perception check.
Okay.
No, you just see this guard walk out.
What do they say to her?
You been there the entire time?
No.
And she got a natural one, and she says, Sventisco. I mean, no.
She says her own name like a Pokemon?
Yes.
Oh no.
I need everybody in the room to roll for initiative.
Oh.
Damn, that's so
want your
rough.
girlfriend. Shit.
That's, she got a natural one. I decided she just freaking panicked.
She's trying her best, okay?
And she rolled a 2
Don't
on the
make fun of
initiative,
her.
so she sits there like an idiot.
Yeah, that fire, we dodged it. Ariana didn't. But that's why we all woke up. So...
Dragon's fire.
Dragon. Okay, you talked to the dragon?
Oh yeah, that guy sucked. He just kept wanting us to say his name and open the big bad door and he's gonna destroy the world and kill anyone we ever want. But I won't. I can kill anybody I want. I don't know what some statue's gonna do, but And he doesn't even know his own name. Boomer much? But anyway, so like But you've slain dragons before. If you can do it, and then
These are the dragons of the world before.
Well, we're magic users. We don't need a fucking sword to go through planes. We just wish our way there. We're spellcasters.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of the magical I'm thinking of the stabby properties.
I don't have any stabby things, but
Yeah.
you just blast them.
And my last stabby thing, I put in Mantra's mouth.
That, you know?
Good night, everybody.
Oh, the instant regret sentence.
The emotional roller coaster of this episode is breaking my brain.
Will you
nothing
not
left.
entertain? This is not why you come.
Roll a persuasion. What say you to this plea?
No!
Tears of glitter fall from my eyes.
But
That's
also,
right.
yeah.
You're on a bound. You're on a bound. Look, Ariana's out. Balvarex, please take care of her. We'll be taking Mason as payment.
He's
Yeah, like
collecting snacks already from the food hall for when she wakes up.
Thank you, Balvi. I'll owe you one.
like as Garnet walks out the door, she'll just be like, "Yeah, we'll just say the drugs came from Balvi."
No. Basically going to stand up. No, Balvi, no. I'll make sure that doesn't happen. It's fine. We will not. No, won't happen. Won't happen. Garnet.
Yes, it's just down the hall.
Turns to Hathor, just how it's
You get
fine.
used to
Never
it.
mind. It's fine.
Eldritch Blast to the face at the werewolf. I refuse to flinch.
Melee combat?
And a nat 20. Critical hit.
I'm just going to reach out, grab him in the face, and just...
Another 21 points of force damage. Oof. Do you want to tell them or should I?
It's not looking good, chat.
Oh no.
Toddleheim.
Oh no.
Drops to 0.
Okay. All right. This is a ridiculous plan, and they're going to go with it.
I prefer the one where we don't die, so I like this.
I go away
Also,
after
I
an
need some
hour.
earplugs.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so
Someone gonna heal me?
yeah, they're already like coming back with healing potions in crates. You know, like 24 packs of healing potions.
Just got a shotgun a healing potion.
It's like a study session all over again. It's just chugging Red Bull.
Once again,
Red Bull give you fiends.
Not what I expected to be happening today.
You know, I've
There
been
will be
saying
no next time.
if at first you don't succeed, you can keep trying until you succeed. I think is the saying.
I'm a
there.
trash cannot, Mason.
No.
I'm a trash cannot.
Garnet. Remember the conversation that we had earlier? I think some concepts can apply here about how, you know, when you're in your own emotions, you feel like you want to do the thing right now, and sometimes you don't want to do the thing at all, and that's right now. But then you have friends or people that
I'm gonna die
you know
alone.
no, Garnet, you're gonna be okay. Let's just. Can you take some deep breaths? We can do it together. We can do it together.
Who am I gonna take to the blue gala or whatever fucking color it is?
Someone had picked.
Welcome back to Book of Dawn, Ioth Academy. When last we left our hero, Athalor, played by Legday, had just had some intense dreams, was looking at the moon and talking with teachers.
Yeah, it was a nice little bit of introspection. What's the opposite of self-care? Self-questioning.
The opposite of self-care is playing League of Legends.
Ah, so true.
Yeah. When morning comes, a little bit groggy from the interrupted sleep. No mechanical penalties, but definitely new experiences, new sensations. There's a lot going through your mind right now, but some of that involves what it's going to take to be ready when the day comes that the hunger arrives. Where is Athalor off to now?
Athalor is going to head to the Tower of Abjuration for what I assume is now like a pretty regularly scheduled bit of tutoring with the Master of Abjuration, Mir Hethil Na Underud.
Upon walking down across the bridge that leads to the rest of the ring, through the various passageways between the verdant green lots and crumbling fortresses, enchanted towers of mist, and other structures built by mages who moved here centuries and centuries ago before leaving their homes to become the chapter houses. You climb all the way up to the Tower of Abjuration, only to be told that Master Mihethil is currently in the spire.
Any particularities of a spire?
He's attending an urgent meeting that was called by Inril Untermaler.
Athal's deciding whether or not it's appropriate to intrude. I killed a god with them. I'm in the club. Thank you so much. Athel was like trying to make connections around the Tower of Abjuration. He makes a pretty deep and respectful bow to what I assume is like probably an 8th year student here, like a major apprentice of Abjuration.
An undergrad, yeah.
Yeah. And leaves after his pleasantries.
When
Goes to
you
the
make your way
spire.
up to the spire, there is a decent amount of activity of wardens moving back and forth. A lot of grim faces.
A lot of grim. Okay. I head towards the war room.
The door is shut, and two wardens stand on either side. There's no noise emitting, but the place is enchanted. That's by design.
I step to the wardens and see how they react.
The Mointiori are having a meeting, student. No visitors.
Is there an estimate on how long?
Shakes his head.
Then I shall not intrude, but could you let one of the attendants know that Athalor Underid is here?
No. The other warden looks over at him. She rolls her eyes, makes a head-jerking motion, casts a message spell to send him like a quiet message. No problem. No problem.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think Master Nat Underwood's aid would likely be the most appropriate. Athalor exits and goes and sits down on whatever the nearest bench is and
There's
starts
bench in
having a
this
little
fancy
read.
hallway. Not a problem. And like half an hour later, the door opens. You see Elnau and Untermaler sitting inside, looking over a map. Master Miahethil walks out along with a handful of other Chad Chadius, the warden, is there. Oh, hey, Athalor. And a few others. Some of them are leaving, some of them are staying. They're bringing in like food. It seems like they're going to be here for a while.
Commander Chadius, lovely to see you.
He gives you a smile and a wink. It does not seem super enthusiastic. He's kind of just keeping up appearances. And he moves on. Miahethil walks over, gives you a gentle bow.
Athalor returns the bow fairly deeply.
Athalor, what do you require?
I was meaning to continue our training, though I can see that things may well have been reprioritized. Is everything okay?
Miahethil glances from side to side. Wait here but a moment. I will accompany you back to my tower.
Yes, Master.
He walks back inside, passes through the private sanctum with a whoosh. All sound from it within is blocked. You see him bowing respectfully to Untramalar and to Elnau, says something. Elnau sort of leans over, sees you sitting there, glances down at the map, and then does a yeah, whatever gesture at him. He walks back out and will take a flying carpet with you all the way back to the tower.
I'm sorry to pull you away from such a meeting.
That's quite all right. My participation was no longer necessary.
Is there a new threat arising that I should know about?
He puts a hand to his chin, tapping it thoughtfully and meaningfully as the wind continues to whip around you on the flying carpet. That can wait.
As can I.
He is polite and pleasant company, all the way to landing at one of the platforms up near the top of the tower, so you don't have to walk all the way up from the bottom. He dispels the wards with his mere presence, and the two of you enter this highly secured location inside of his office. Magically warded, magically sealed. It's freaking abjuration, and this guy teaches it, so this is a very, very safe place, all things considered.
He's real good at abjuration.
Mm-hmm. With the close of the door, well, let me drop you on the map so it's not just the darkness.
The void!
That was a different episode. He shuts the door. The wards... Again, it feels like the room pressurizes, even though that's not what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm. It's like a little arcane ear pop.
Exactly. Now, Athalor, where did we leave off? Wait. We can speak freely here.
Where did we leave off? Diplomatically or educationally?
I see little difference between the two.
Well, in terms of theory, we were mastering the intensification of spell matrices around dispelling of magic for second circle dispels.
Yes.
Also interference with foe spell matrices for repurposement of enemy arcana, and the mysterious matter of a Crimson Council diplomatically.
Yes. Athalor. Have you... No, perhaps not. Have you heard of the beauties of the singing city of Naramu?
Is that a history check?
Yes.
Ooh, 23.
23. Yes. Naramu, the singing city, a mecca of poetry and song. It's called that because it's a desert city right off the edge of the Great Kara salt wasteland, and wind chimes hang from almost every single building. So whenever the wind blows through, and as the priest kingdom dedicated to Sirocco, the Titan of Passion, offspring of Zalar and Sin, the wind blows through all the time, and it always makes this beautiful, beautiful musical sound.
We've covered the city in my performance group, yes.
Yes. It was Dune Riders fleeing from the designers. They followed the Titan's winds through the salt wastes where none other could tread, by secret paths. But when they came to the pastures and the springs there, they found others already dwelling there, living in secrecy, hiding from the ruin that walks and the destroyer and their hordes. The Dune Riders who fled were a rash, proud people, and they challenged those who dwelt there for their land. Their greatest warrior and the greatest warrior of the locals met in hand-to-hand combat, each of them challenging first for the right to live there, but then for the honor, and then simply because they refused to be defeated.
Warriors.
They battled for 4 days, every single day, rising and clashing steel to steel upon the sands, but neither could get the best of each other. And they ended their duel when they realized why they couldn't stop meeting there and clashing steel. And with their kiss, the sandstorm swept in and blessed that place. It said that the palace that they built there was not for them, but for all of their people, a place of art and beauty and love where the doors would never close. It burns.
The city?
Yes.
The Dune Riders are fairly close to us now.
They are, but Naramu is not. Let me pull that up for you.
The entire city burns, but surely their warriors are more than adept. The entire city was hidden from the infernals.
They found it.
And is this what the Academy's meeting was about? About delivering aid?
That remains to be seen.
Who did this? The Ravenous?
Yes. Under their new warlord, they marched from the south, their own blasphemous poems upon their lips.
Did they cross the mountains?
The Raveners are not a single person. They're not a single culture, a single people. Anywhere that the many turn in violence against those who don't fit in, anywhere that violence sweeps through a populace, those who once dwelt peacefully in the desert can become Raveners. And the priest king Orsabaris is dead.
the rest of the people?
We should know soon. This little concerns your studies, but you had asked. My responsibility is to assist the Archmage and the Chief of Wardens in all matters of defense. Thus, it's relevant to my purview.
Do I know the generalized geography here? That,
Yeah,
like, the
absolutely.
Raveners likely came from the south over these mountains?
They came from this section between the salt wastes of Kara and the mountains themselves. The mountains are
okay.
inhabited by the people of Stone Abbey.
Okay.
Lut Kalem. This Ravener horde is new. The sinister horde. Every single member of this horde has cut off their left hand.
You said a new warlord.
Yes.
This is a cause of concern for us. Is it a new horde, a new band entirely?
Yes. Such things are not uncommon, Athalor. As I said, the Raveners are almost more of a state of mind. New warbands constantly appear, such as the one that struck at us just a few years ago. It is only when they seize control and stay rather than simply burning and moving on that they amass in such numbers. We have the entirety of the Salt Wastes and the armies of Brontha and the Dune Riders between us and these Raveners. It is unlikely that they will directly threaten us, but we, of course, cannot take that risk. Hubris and arrogance have undone many in the past, and it would ill befit us to fall into that same trap.
Is the Academy contemplating a strike while we know where this band is?
Contemplating, of course.
If they can traverse the salt flats, then
There's no proof that they can. They rose up from the south. Only the Dune Riders know the paths between Noramu and their own lands. But the Firaxis and the Burning Eyes horde are far closer to us. While we should help Noramu however we cannot let our own guard down. The blow that we struck against Firaxis may not last forever. As for the Crimson Council, I have yet to learn much more. These new matters have embroiled me with much of my time. I do know that Ithgos, to Onderud's west, has sent the majority of their armies into the swamps of Gluckmore. It may be that all the Infernals and their ilk have decided that now is the time to strike at the priest kingdoms of the Titans wherever they may be. But we'll see if the pattern holds.
Ithgos would not strike south?
Who's to say? Mazru and Gluckmore are separated from the rest of the priest kingdoms by the great bay of the Maw. They're more vulnerable. But again, that's hundreds, thousands of miles from us.
Who's the greatest naval power in the area?
Maratu. But they dwell
Friendly?
in the deep and they rarely deal with surface matters.
Water elves?
Tritons, water elves, a priest kingdom of Drikla of the deep waters.
Is there anything I could do to help Naramu?
Perhaps. But it would ill do for us to lose you to a horde of demon-possessed warriors. I'm sure that under Elnau's guidance, the Academy will not sit idly by. If you are to someday take the throne, the reins of power in our homeland, then you would do well to know your history, especially as it's happening around you.
Athor looks up to Mia Hethel with a slight glint of ambition in his eye.
Mm-hmm.
And realize that some of that history also presents an opportunity.
Quite. What do you mean?
I assume there are survivors in Naramu.
One must assume the city hasn't been wiped off the map.
I don't remember why or who, but I know that I can extricate people from both scenarios. We did it in Defraxis before.
Yes, we did.
And the Sage is back. We have access to a gate. If the Tower of Divination could find a pocket of resistance, there's a world where we can get people out and bring them here.
True. Note, Athalor, that a gate must connect two places in two different kingdoms. Onderud is a special case, but the Academy is not quite that separated from its surroundings.
So we can't create a gate from here to Naramu?
Correct. A gate cannot open twice in the mortal realm.
What's the quickest other realm we can go to?
Oh, the Sky Kingdom is not too complicated. You just go up. The other world is never more than right around the corner, though its denizens and their capriciousness can lead to trouble. I'm sure we can tap into the underworld, though it has its own dangers. I would be happy to present this, unless you wish to present this to Muintieri. Perhaps this is something we could assist with.
You present this. I need to go and talk to my Draconic Runes teacher about range extension modifications. See how safe we can be away from the battle.
Very well. Did you want to address your lessons now or redirect?
I have hundreds of years to become a master of abjuration. This opportunity is now.
Very well. He will bow and then start making his way back up to the spire.
Okay, I'm going to head to the Draconic Rune teacher in Tarsamore to talk about how to temporarily access extended spell meta magic and the Gloria rune.
Okay. I will also point out that chat has played a Spark of Insight card, a common card from Sin. Either this gives inspiration or a clue, a hint.
Okay.
And it must be cashed in the next hour.
Cool.
and prevents.
All right. What I would like is some inspiration. Well, actually, I'd like some insight as to how to extend the range of my spells.
Mm-hmm.
This could happen through Ioth's Quill, which lets me do things I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing vague familiarity with meta magic.
Well, how about this? You're looking for a spark of insight. You have Ioth's High Magic Handbook. Cryus and Garnet have been
Ooh.
studying high magic. That allows multiple spellcasters to combine their might and amplify their spells in ways including distance. It might be worth looking into.
Would it be easier and a greater magnitude to elevate a low-level spell with more high-level spellcasters?
Do you want to figure this out by looking in your book or talking to Cryus? How do you want to go about this?
I want to look in the book with Cryus.
Okay.
And Athalor is having a brain blast right now. He is thinking here that they could use Elnau's disintegration beam multiple times to cut out a chunk of earth and then use a high magic ritual of levitate to pull this thing out. And then, like, almost dock it with the gate.
Wait. Hold on. What are you looking to lift? What are you looking to excavate?
Whatever they are fighting from, like their holdout.
Mm-hmm.
Carve out some weakness around it using Elnau's disintegrate.
Mm-hmm.
High magic ritual the levitate spell, which can usually hold 500 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only with a level 2 spell slot. You can use it on a loose object that rises vertically. And we could bring it up to where it could, like, dock with the gate.
So you open the gate midair like you did in the attack on Defraxis. You rip a chunk of earth, like a building up, or wherever it is that they are. Rip
Carve
that
out
up.
the foundation via Elnau to make it a loose object.
Mm-hmm. And lift that up, thereby not allowing any ground access to the gate, preventing incursion. And then just lift that whole thing up and then evacuate everybody off of it, right?
Yeah.
Sokovia style.
So, yeah, Sokovia style, I suppose.
Okay. Who are you talking about this with?
I'm talking about this with Cryus and, if possible, a Lozarin.
Okay.
And Garnet and Mason are also here, but not here.
Okay. All right. Yes, a Lozarin. I said Cryus when I meant a Lozarin. Was working on the high magic, but Cryus is definitely, he's such an Ioth fanboy and he's a wizard. He could absolutely participate in this. When you see him, it's obvious that while he's less like destroyed than he was before he shifted, before he paid his debt to the Court of Reverie and moved to the Tower of Mist, Mist Tower, that he's less disheveled and less messed up, but he's still got some bags under his eye. Some sleeping difficulties for sure.
Oh, yeah.
He's still very clipped, matter of fact, absolutely willing to collaborate, but not really willing to have any small talk at all.
Well, luckily, we're talking shop.
Yeah. Lozen is just, oh, good. I've been meaning to talk about you with these things. Very important that we study this right away. It's going to be highly, highly important.
And highly time sensitive.
Yes. What were you using this for?
Saving the remnants of a civilization.
Oh. I had assumed it was about El now. But that's all right. Saving a civilization will be good practice.
Yeah. What?
All right. He's going to sit. Go ahead.
Athalor takes the quill since it can sort of create persistent images and like draws out the spell matrix of a levitate without like injecting any power into it. It's basically like the wireframe, the framework over the book so that they can like look at that particular spell matrix and figure out how to interface with it while they're reading the high magic guide.
Alozarin is doing math and sort of adjusting, or like he'll use a cantrip to project an illusion of where he thinks the modifications need to be made. And then you can just put them in with the quill so that they'll be persistent.
Okay, remember to fact in this needs to be able to hold power from the Minutiori, not just us.
Oh, yes, absolutely. If the Muntiori are presiding, then one of them would be the lead, and we would simply join the pre-existing high magic field through the induction, contributing rather than directing, unless for some reason you think one of us should direct.
No,
I don't see why we couldn't. We absolutely could.
How dangerous would it be for one of us to have to leave the ritual midway through if we were one of the lower powered spellcasters?
Well, as long as you don't have to do it instantaneously, you would safely withdraw. The more powerful the field that's created, the longer that you need to take in order to avoid a lashback. Do you foresee the need for any immediate disconnection or evacuation?
Immediate evacuations while we're doing this, but I may need to catch stragglers who aren't in the central lift.
How does it feel?
Feel?
You, now.
Purposeful.
Not the trait that I was anticipating. Oh well. All right. So the spell can't be upcast. Is that correct? Levitation doesn't have an upcast functionality. Have you considered telekinesis as a seed spell instead?
I hadn't. Would that work better?
Entirely possible. He'll
Like
go
me?
ahead and just like he's got a pile of books in front of him. He's going to take a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Telekinesis. Telekinesis can move up to 1,000 pounds by default.
Can it be upcast?
No. No. It also doesn't have upcast. How much can the levitation lift?
Up to 500 pounds.
Okay. That's a level 2. That's first circle magic up to 500 pounds. We might get more total efficiency if we do use that as a seed spell at the lore. You have been working on draconic runes, correct? Do you have that under wraps, or are you still processing that?
I can work on range here using the Gloria rune. That's the only one I've mastered thus far.
Maximum range on levitation?
Maximum range on levitation is 60 feet. That could be doubled, I believe. Oh no, I need to double it using the meta magic, and then I believe I can add.
Well, if that's the case, Athalor, you need to lead the spell.
Okay, I can extend it to about 180 feet of range.
Oh, any participant in the field can cast a different spell, so we could switch off who's doing it. What was the maximum distance that you said you could attain?
180 feet.
180 feet. The magnitude of the spell that we use for the distance induction will be the effective multiplier. So if I was to contribute a 3rd level spell, it would triple the total distance. And multiple participants could contribute as well. So it's entirely possible for us to greatly magnify the distance. What else could we do? What else could we do? A similar magnification could be enacted via the enhance incantation, the enhancement factor. So every participant would be able to contribute spell energy where the magnitude of the spell level that they contribute would increase the multiplier of either the distance or the weight capacity.
A high multiplier on weight would be important.
Yes. Which is, it may be more beneficial to start. Second level spell gives us 500. Another second level spell amplifies that. But every single indication. We should use telekinesis as the seed spell for that. But then we don't get the benefits of your range magnification. What if you cast from a scroll of telekinesis? That would, of course, introduce the possibility of failure, given that that's beyond your current capacity, but you would be able to apply the various metamagic and draconic rune effects to it, thereby giving you a higher effective multiplier. And then each element of energy contributed by a participant would further magnify it. It introduces an additional risk element, but it may be necessary for us to accomplish this.
The Draconic Runes teacher knows the Glory Rune off by heart. Perhaps she could be able to do that as well. Likely is a better spellcaster than me at this moment. I could focus on picking off any stragglers who may well be outside of her range.
Perhaps. Oh, what else?
My ass is looking up telekinesis.
We may need to magnify the area of effect as well, depending on the total size of the object, which you could do with the expand incantation. Duration. Okay. What we need to do is we need to identify a threshold at the lore. The maximum amount, we need to calculate the maximum amount that we're willing to lift or sever. We need to calculate a maximum weight and size, and then calculate accordingly, because we can predict the total amount of energy that will be required from participants, or possibly other sources as well. The elemental gates that we have access to, other power sources of any kind. And then we need to come up with an equation that determines the total amount of spell energy necessary. That will give us the number of participants that are required, so that we can get, and then ensure that everyone is able to safely join the induction. And from there, we can calculate the risk possibility and the disconnection time.
I can contribute a magnification factor up to a 9th level using the quill.
Oh, well, that's excellent. Third circle, yes. No, that's excellent. That'll be entirely useful. Yes, I think that'll be quite useful. You will, of course, want to practice this before you do it for the first time, especially if you're looking to enact magic on a scale like this. Disintegrate seems wasteful.
Any better idea for severing part of a building from another part?
Elemental magic, perhaps. Earth-related magic, something that's specialized to the task with a much wider area of effect, rather than individually carving out or magnifying a 6th level spell in order to disintegrate a moat around it. Because that leaves the factor of, what was that?
An earthquake underneath, a wider shatter, perhaps?
Yes, an earthquake spell. That's beyond either of us at the moment.
Tower of Evocation.
It's on the sorcerer list. Okay, yes, well, Elna is the High Evoker, and I rather doubt that she took that particular spell. I'm sure that she can come up with something, a scroll or something. Okay, so he goes back and he sort of makes some adjustments to the thing. High magic. Earthquake to separate the affected area. Telekinesis to lift the rescue zone. Gate is gate. Then, of course, as long as we have excess magical power and practitioners available, we can direct any remaining energy towards offensive or defensive efforts. There's no reason for you to disconnect from the field when you could just as easily utilize its energy to amplify your own attacks. This is very complicated, Athalor. You're going to want to practice this well in advance. This is not a form of magic that is widely practiced amongst the Moontiori either. There's a great deal of education that's going to need to happen very quickly.
You're right, very quickly. If this goes wrong, they die. And if we do nothing, they die.
Well, that's not right. If this goes wrong, we could disrupt every spell matrix within a wide radius of ourselves. Or cause a collapse in the local meta-geometric field. Or drain all of our life forces and dissolve into dust.
Also an issue. Can I make an Arcana check to see how much I'm understanding thus far?
Sure.
I'm going to hit myself with the guidance. The self-guidance, baby. Look inside my heart. And find a winning formula. Plus 1d4. Oh, 13. Maybe I should like that one.
yeah, it's regenerated. You got your long rest. I would go for it.
Probably give it an old luck die. Okay. 20.
Okay. You understand the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Each participant needs to cast the High Magic Induction spell, which is a 3rd level spell. Then make sure that they all merge their fields together so that instead of each person having their own high magic field, they're all merged into one high magic field.
Mm-hmm.
Then, when any participant casts a spell inside the field, anybody else can use a reaction to apply one of the incantations that they know to modify or boost the spell, usually expending a spell slot to power it. So what he was describing is, let's say you cast telekinesis.
Mm-hmm.
Then, as a reaction, Garnet uses the distance incantation and burns a 3rd level spell slot, multiplying the distance of the range of the spell by 3.
Oh,
if Cryas also burns a reaction and a level 2 spell slot, it's not multiplicative, it's additive. So that would then multiply it by 5 total.
Okay.
Now the question is, how difficult is it to control? Because if you have like all the Muintiori all putting power into one spell, I need to see if there's a chance of failure.
Yeah, we can also mitigate this by opening the gate closer to the extrication location.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the closer it is, the more likely it is that Raveners will be able to attack. So from a security perspective, wherever you do this gate nonsense, you need to have wardens and battle mages standing by.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, spellcraft checks. Where is this?
Sorry to Crone and Lemon for destroying the campaign mode while you're not here. Whoops.
I seem to have lost it. I believe that if you cast a powerful spell like this, okay, there it is. Page 12. Okay. So, if you cast the spell,
Mm-hmm.
and then Garnet adds a level 3 spell slot via an incantation to enhance the spell, she has to make an Arcana check using her charisma, her spellcasting modifier, her charisma, instead of her intelligence. The difficulty is equal to 10 plus the level of the spell. So let's say you're casting telekinesis. That's 5, right? So that's 15. Plus 1. So it would be 15 for her.
Okay.
She's now added 3 levels of spell power to it. When Cryas goes to add his level 2, he has to make a DC 18 check. And the more of these that get stacked on, including metamagic points spent on enhancements, because you can contribute metamagic into this pile. You can use your metamagic on a spell if you're inside the induction field. But every time somebody tries to enhance it more, the spellcraft DC gets higher. meaning that if you want to do something truly powerful, whoever is adding, like the later you are in enhancing the spell, the more likely it is that you fail. If you fail by more than 5, by 5 or more, you suffer a backlash effect. If you fail by 4 or less, you still suffer a backlash effect, but you are successfully able to add to the spell in question. So there is a soft cap on how powerful these things can become.
Okay. How would cantrips like guidance interact with that?
Guidance affects skill checks, so it would affect a spellcraft check. As would Circle of Mental Blessings and any similar buffs. But the order of operations would be important. You want your lowest level people contributing first.
So the students go first and then your theory.
This also could be a cause for using Levitate instead of Telekinesis, because that's going to start the DC at 12 instead of 15. But Telekinesis is twice as powerful in terms of how much it can lift. And it can do more than straight up. It can go in multiple directions.
Yeah.
So if somebody rips a Earthquake spell and then you want to amplify the distance, you're talking to DC 18 right out the gate. So there are multiple sides to this. Everybody needs to be able to join the field. Everybody needs to have these incantations that they've studied so they can modify the spell. And you need to take into account passing these checks, because the side effects for failure can be catastrophic.
Okay. So I'm thinking that weight is probably going to be where we want to get most of our shit. 180 feet of range vertically above a building is probably fairly safe. If the Ravenous... We do know that Ravenous have, like, bats and shit.
Yes.
But I don't think any verticality would stop their airborne forces from being able to interact with us.
Right. It's mostly just siphoning away the existence of ground forces.
Yeah. And I think that 180 feet over the top of a building probably is fine, which would require no other modifications other than my Quicken spell and Gloria rune. And then we just have to figure out how heavy the roof of the building is.
This is probably something, timeline aside, that we're going to wait until we have the others for, Rowan and Lemon for, which means that we can spend some time running some quick maths between shows. Okay, how many cubic feet of sandstone weighs how much? That's what we're all here for, right? The math?
Exactly. You guys are here for the math itself.
Never do math live on broadcast. Cryas and Elozrin can help do those calculations.
Cool. Will people like battle mages be able to give us the help action on Arcana checks without contributing their own power?
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Seems doable. Well, actually, we can move. How many things can we move with telekinesis? It's just you can only move one creature, right?
Yes, one creature or one object.
Okay.
And if we take time between weeks, you could also look through spells, because someone in the academy can probably, if you find a spell, someone in the academy can probably cast it. So there might be some more esoteric magic out there that might make a better seed ingredient for this.
Yeah, either that or we gate directly on top of the building, have the Abjuration Tower, high magic, a globe of invulnerability, and just have everyone pour in.
Or do Wall of Force.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, Wall of Force probably a lot more space.
Well, Globe of Invulnerability only blocks spells. It doesn't physically prevent access. But Wall of Force, one of Untermaller's favorite spells, can create a globe of force. And a high magic field could enhance that in terms of size. So rather than doing you've got a good idea here. Rather than doing the levitation thing, you could just do it on site, put up a gigantic, virtually impervious force field and then conduct the evacuation that way.
Yeah, that seems like it would be a better idea. It's only 5th level evocation. There's a world where we could just bring 4 people who know that, or 4 spell scrolls, and just square off the area.
The cube.
We could just bring in the cube, man. And that's after 10 minutes as well. That's plenty of time for for evac.
Yeah. I mean, if you can remove the need for a high magic induction field, obviously it makes things less complicated. It might burn more resources or require, more high-level spellcasters instead of a bunch of low-level spellcasters, but still.
And I think low-level spellcasters have to probably focus on keeping the air assets out. That does seem more efficient in terms of evacs. But the thing about all of this is that it requires some prep diplomacy to have whoever's commanding down there get everyone on top of a roof. Because we don't want to be opening our gate in the middle of an enemy force.
Sending spells and Untermaler, the chief diplomat, could assist with that as well. Since he's both he's a war commander and he's a diplomat, he'd be good. He'd be well suited for passing along those kinds of instructions.
Okay. I posit the Wall of Force idea to Alozarin.
It could be entirely effective based on depending on the situation on the ground. Be a much less effective field test, though.
Yeah, but I think that maybe a field test when a bunch of people are not going to die if it goes wrong would be slightly better.
There's just as much at stake, though.
Okay, do you have any way that we could enhance this using high magic?
We still don't have an Archmage.
How is that relevant right now?
Because that's how we're going to fix it. With high magic.
We're going to do like an elevation ritual?
Yes.
Does Elle now know?
I haven't talked to her yet. I have to develop a use. Of course, I have to develop a case study and prove that it's efficacious first. The wards and spells inlaid upon the academy prevent the ascension except on a very specific day, the first day of the school year. Without access to the full rank of Archmage, the academy is made more vulnerable due to poor control over its significant magical assets. A high magic induction of sufficient power should be able to override it if properly conducted, thereby restoring to the academy full access to all of its defenses and resources, thereby protecting us and ensuring our continuity.
Okay, how about this? We can do both. I'll talk to the Tower of Evocation. It's only second circle magic for a Wall of Force. Sage can handle the gates. 4 casters with Walls of Force. You design a high magic circle to instead boost the earthquake. And then when we leave, we can bury those Raveners under what remains of what's there.
I was about to ask the purpose of the earthquake. Large scale, devastating war magic. Less subtle, but I suppose that it would be adequate.
Well, originally it was to somewhat destroy the building underneath the roof.
For extraction purposes.
Yes.
Now this is infrastructure. Yes.
Yeah, now you can just focus on the force amplifiers.
Very well. That's adequate. That will be adequate. Nothing more required. We'll proceed to study.
Athel
And
is
he'll-
always unnerved by how he talks.
And he'll walk off to go work on that. Cryus will look at you, look at him, and then follow him.
Good luck. Athel looks to the other two beasts.
All right. So we are going to table the actual execution of this plan.
Yeah.
The second time that a gate will be used to access an infernal controlled city for an extraction. We'll go ahead and hold on to that for the time being.
Gate spell goes crazy, man.
Gate, level 9 magic. When you're a bunch of like teenagers surrounded by level 9 magic, they don't think it be like it is, but it do.
It do be as it we.
All right. What else do you want to do aside from talk to the Tower of Evocation, who have enough spellcasters who are capable of casting this magic? It's a good idea. Frankly, it's a very good idea. So they're on board. I think the Sage would definitely be on board. Untermaler would absolutely be on board, though he's going to go over the plan several times because the last time we did something like this, Depraxis attacked us. So,
Oh no, the Infernals are going to hate us more.
Yeah, I mean...
Point.
Athelor is going to... No, I don't know that the Sky Kingdoms are going to strike yet, so can't do that. Still in the past.
We call this being plot... Back in my days of online role-playing forums, we called this being plot-locked.
Athelor is going to, for want of a better word, explore this new body.
Okay.
He feels like a lot more light and airy than previously. I think that Athelor is going to go down to that force maze.
To go talk to Slip and Slide. The boggles are still... I don't know if we ever found the boggles.
Yeah, well, my way through the force maze is like a lot more complicated now.
Mm-hmm.
No longer have a knife.
Send you to the GM layer, send you to the GM layer, banish old Athelor, summon new Athelor, switch to the correct scene, and...
Okay.
Oh no, I already switched this to the scene. Hey presto, change,
Nice. What do I know about this place?
What was that?
What do I know about this place? This maze?
The Maze of Illusions. It's a shifting labyrinth of delusional spells, fake walls, shifting passageways. It tests one's ability to see through illusions. Keep control of your own mind, identify magical patterns to tell what's real and what's not. And if you're an illusionist, to change the nature of the maze itself.
Okay. So Athel's kind of just gonna run the gamut of the things that he's got into learning in this new body. Gonna open with an attempt at casting Dispel Magic with a 3rd level spell slot.
Okay. Go ahead and roll 1d20 plus your intelligence your charisma modifier. Yeah, plus your charisma modifier.
1d20 plus.
I almost forgot that you're not actually an abjuration wizard.
13.
13. Nothing.
What am I currently looking at in the maze?
shifting walls of amethyst colored shimmering force.
Hmm.
Have you just like, did you dive in or are you sort of on the outside looking in?
Nah, he's just on the outside looking in.
All right.
He knows that spending a day getting lost in this thing is not in his interest.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like just feeling out the new body. I'd like to try and touch one of the walls.
Okay. It feels almost soft, but not like, almost like memory foam, where your hand kind of sinks into it, but does get more resistance the further you push and eventually stops.
Okay. I can't see through these, can I?
It looks like you can, but you can't. They're translucent purple.
Okay.
You think you see through to the other side, but whenever you blink, whatever's on the other side of it changes.
I try to push slightly harder into it.
Okay.
Does resistance maximize at a certain point?
Mm-hmm. It does. To the point where you might as well be pushing on rock. Magical force. You felt it enough times.
Mm-hmm. Once it feels like it's like pushing at the maximum resistance, like the rocky layer underneath, Athelor's gonna see if he can tap into what he feels are the capabilities of this body and see if he can use his out of phase ability to push through the wall.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. You with your hand inside this wall of illusory force, you start to feel the spell matrix, the energy flowing, coursing through this incredibly complex circuit. You feel it in your bones, humming, a melody, a pattern, a vibration. As certain as you know the hum of the gyre, you can feel this as well. And you can feel that there's nothing there except this magic that's been woven together.
Mm-hmm.
And as it hums through you, a second tone arises, not from without, but from within. As you change the resonant frequency of your own body, you slip away from the mortal realm. Much as Onderud itself is superimposed between the other world and the mortal world. You take yourself and you change the music of your own flesh and blood until your hand goes right through that wall. And upon doing so, as you feel your own semi-ethereal nature interacting with it, you know that magical force, like a wall of force, extends into the border worlds. It extends into the ethereal. It can't be passed. But these aren't even real. They're magical, but they aren't really there. And so you simply phase directly through it.
And then at the end of 6 seconds, back into the material plane. Looks back at the semi-real walls and the tones they make. And Athlor has a little nod to himself like, okay, I'm starting to get it. And remembers the promise that he made when he was given this power. And noting the frequency of these walls, is gonna spam cast some Toll the Dead cantrips on them to play a little funeral dirge for Red Knob.
Okay. That's really cool. I have no idea yet what that does, but it's really cool.
That probably doesn't do anything. I don't even know if anyone will hear it. That's just Athalor keeping his private promise. To maintain the music and song of this world.
Even if no one else hears it, you hear it. The place seems darker now. Not more menacing, just darker.
Athalor tries to phase through the wall back to the entrance again.
How often can you do that?
I have 5 per day, equal to
Okay.
my charisma modifier.
Well, then, yes, that is in fact what happens. And because you're only partially ethereal, I would say that you can partially see through things, or it's almost like you can see through things. It's not true X-ray vision, but you can kind of
got a bit of translucency.
Yeah, like you can tell if there's something behind a wall, or if it's just solid rock, but you can't tell what's back there.
Yeah, you can almost like you've got like the fog of war mapping.
Mm-hmm.
There's a open space here.
Exactly.
I do not know what's in it.
Exactly. My auto map just filled that part.
You get XP for it and everything. Okay, Athalor's pretty happy with the discovery of his new feelings here.
Mm-hmm. Well, and at about this age, when you're exploring your body and discovering new feelings, it can lead to happiness. It's important.
That's very true. That's very true. And I guess he will talk to the Tower of Evocation about the amount of undergrads and postgrads there who can cast a Wall of Force.
Okay.
He wants to come to Untomora now with a fully formed plan.
Did you know that there is no master of the Tower of Evocation?
I guess it's currently empty because they're moonlighting as the headmistress.
Mm-hmm. So I need to identify the dean of the Tower of Invocation, the understudy,
assistant to the regional manager.
Exactly, assistant to the regional manager of Evocation. How many Wall of Force spells will you need?
I'm guessing 4.
Let's take a look. More
Flat surface
geometry,
made up of 10 10-foot by 10-foot panels. So it'll be 10 foot high, 100 foot wide on each side.
All right, that's gonna make a weird. You need 6 if you want to make a cube, or you're gonna need 5 if you're gonna have each person do a side.
Like the cube won't be workable, I don't think. Wait, no, the cube won't be workable. Covering the top would require like 6 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Or even more than that. It would require 10 guys, I think. If I was making a 10 by 10 square, you'd need.
And it's a flat surface. Yeah, it's a flat surface, so you can't like take all your panels and stack them up and such. That's not how that works.
You could conceivably have like 10 flat surfaces of like 10 across the top.
Mm-hmm.
But
then you would need 10 castings. So you'd need like 14 castings total.
Yeah. So the top, I'm thinking, is like that's where the lower level spellcasters come in. Effectively playing some anti-air.
When you're talking about this with some of the graduate students, the full-fledged mages amongst Evocation, I mean, 10 feet's not that high.
You think 8 casters, 20-foot wall?
Yeah, I mean, how far were you when the Burning Eye Horde tried to hit Gildenverge the other year? How close were you to things?
I can't remember. Like they can't remember.
Well, you weren't up close and personal. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Let me look. No offense, kid. You've never seen these people before. When the demons come over them, they will crush each other to climb up to get to the people they want to hurt. They will use bodies as a ladder. And if there's enough of them, and if they sacked Naramu, there's enough of them, they're going to be able to get over something like that. Now, with a wide enough spread of fireballs and other spells, it might be possible to defray them long enough. But, who knows how long the evacuation is going to take. Yeah, we hand out wands of fireball to everybody, but it's like water. It's like ants. Something always gets through.
Athel's thinking about what he knows about high magic.
Mm-hmm.
With Wall of Force, would another caster giving a 5th level spell slot, like casting another Wall of Force, times the number of panels by 5?
Let's take a look. Because this might be a solve. Okay,
Because that would
amplify.
give 50 10-foot by 10-foot panels, which would give you a 50-foot topless cube.
Yeah, the enhance incantation. You expend a spell slot to improve the triggering spell's numerical effects other than its duration or area of effect.
So if we took that as like literally the amount of panels it generates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can multiply it by a factor of 5 with a 5th level spell slot. Or 5 students each being like, 1, 1, 1.
And someone could reactively join that circle as well and add a spell slot afterwards.
So once you've connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
It takes 3 rounds for a mage to generate this field.
Yeah.
And in order to join the field, you also have to cast the 3rd level spell, High Magic Induction.
Mm-hmm.
So you cast over 3 rounds, you cast that spell, and then you join your 2 fields together. Oh, no, actually, you don't have to. I don't think you have to do that.
It's like a host field, right? And people
Yeah,
can
there's a
join
host
that.
field. Okay, so the way it works is if a Lozrin casts High Magic Induction and generates a field around himself, and you don't join the field, you just cast a spell, a Lozrin can modify your magic. So all the contributors, all the people who are going to be doing the empowering, they all have to cast this spell and join this field. But then somebody could just walk in and cast Wall of Force, and then everyone else would jump onto their spell and amplify it. But the person who's casting the seed spell doesn't actually have to be joined to the induction field.
Okay. Right. So we could have 4 teams of 2 that could make, presumably with their Arcana checks, some 50-foot tall, 100-foot wide barriers in a square. That would be 8 evokers. And if the rest of the faculty were doing a high magic circle, and Elnal cast Earthquake from a scroll, they could magnify that.
Correct. Or Meteor Swarm, or whatever destructive magic you want to throw out.
I figure better to go from below when we're on the top.
Fair.
Yeah, just in case we've got a straggler or 2 who needs an extra movement round to get out of that gate.
So with this plan, how high do these force walls get?
50 feet.
Okay, yeah. If they don't have nearby structures to throw themselves off of, or siege towers or anything like that, you would have to do a lot of World War Z style stacking to get up to 50 feet of bodies.
Yeah. And we can also mess with them while we try and do that.
Exactly.
That takes a while.
Now, your spells can't go through the Wall of Force either.
Mm-hmm.
But, if they do climb, then you could issue whatever suffering was required. And the nice thing is, once the field is generated, you have some flexibility, because as long as they don't run out of spell slots, other people can just be, oh crap, now we need a big fireball. We didn't plan for a big fireball. That's fine. As long as people have the power and know the incantations, they can jump on your fireball and amplify it.
Okay. Very workable. Is there an incantation to increase number of targets?
There might be. Okay. Amplify, delay, distance, empower, enhance, expand/contract, extend, guide, heighten, or lessen. You expend one spell slot to... Okay, that's saving throws. Intensify. Interesting. Overcome, project, protect, quicken, redirect, seeking, subtlety, strengthen/weaken, transmute, twin. Okay, this is very confusing.
Yeah, this is complicated stuff.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's magic. It's not Fighter Academy.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to the fighters out there. Okay, I think the way this works, I'm gonna have to send you the text so we can parse this.
Oh,
you
yeah.
expend, and I'm not gonna read it out loud because that's boring. But I think there's a limit. You can only do a maximum of your proficiency bonus. So, like, I think this is how it works. If you cast a level 1 spell, what's your proficiency modifier? +3?
3.
Okay. If you cast a level 1 spell, Garnet could burn a 3rd level spell slot to have it target 3 more targets. If you cast a level 2 spell, Garnet could burn a level 4 spell slot to have it hit 2 more targets. If you cast a level 3 spell, Garnet can't cast level 6 spells, so she could burn a level 3 spell slot and it would affect 2 targets.
Okay. I'm thinking that if we need it,
Mm-hmm.
I could get one of the spell circles to empower my Sonic Rift, which lets me teleport with a person. And potentially, like, if I have a bunch of people, just yeet them out with me like a group Misty Step.
Right. It could also apply to the abduction spell, the Vortex Rift.
Yeah, Vortex Warp.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one's got a longer range than Vortex Warp, though.
Okay.
It's a 90 feet teleport.
But you have to be there, right?
Yeah, you have to be there.
Okay. So rather than safely plucking them from afar, which you can always amplify the range with high magic.
True. Vortex Warp, the shenanigans spell.
I
also
abduction
have
button.
Yeah, I've got my own Vortex Warp as well from Ben's Space.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that. I don't think class features can enter the high magic field
Correct.
to be buffed up.
They do not apply. Only spells apply.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Wall of Force is going to be a lot more effective resource-wise for who we have around here.
Mm-hmm.
I have to think about what the other major schools can bring to this. Like, I'm sure the Illusionists probably have a pretty good thing that they could use here.
Absolutely. A little Mirage Arcana or something like that.
Mm-hmm. It's time for Ioth Academy to get back on the map for humanitarian stuff. And more importantly to Athalor, for him to be known to the leaders of this place that he gave.
I participated.
I'm here too. Very good for our overall political aims, providing we don't kill them all.
Always a risk.
These things happen.
These things happen.
Unfortunately, but they do.
Okay. But so the Tower of Evocation is down to go along with this. The 8 casters plan makes sense. Do you need them to be in the induction field or just to cast Wall of Force?
They would have 4 of them casting induction fields, 4 of them casting Wall of Force.
Got it.
So that the 4 casters can be amplified.
Mm-hmm. Okay, technically you only need 4 evokers, and the others can just be whoever can amplify it.
Yeah.
They don't need to
I
cast
figure
the
that
same
like
spell.
they'd have like just thematically the best synergy on this kind of thing.
True. And if it explodes, the other ones can cast Wall of Force instead.
That's true. In terms of how the high magic fields work, does the caster who gets amplified have to be within the field?
Yes. So if you have created a high magic induction field, you become incredibly attuned to magic inside the area of that field. Kind of like your sense of the gyre, except expanded to all magic in the area.
So you
You
just feel
immediately
the
know
wave.
whenever a spell is cast. You have a much better chance of identifying what the spell is. It probably would help with counter spells too. I don't know.
Okay. So I'm thinking logistically here on the rollout. 8 mages, evocators, evokers in front of where the gate's going to spawn. Gate spawns out like 20 feet wide, I think it is. We have our 4 people who are right up against the gate. They're doing the high magic inductions. Other 4 walk past them into onto this roof, and they can cast with LOS and with buffs because they'll only be 5 feet from the guys. Bring up the wall of forces, and then they can spread out to allow everyone else through.
That makes sense. Maybe some wardens to push forward just in case.
Yeah, just in terms of our rollout logistics here, and then wardens taking care of evacuation / rear guard.
Well, I'd like to thank you for writing the next episode for me.
Yes, sorry, Vinder Priest Kingdom. We've got a different Priest Kingdom to save first, and maybe that'll make you feel a little bit nicer about us since we saved another one of Vinder's kids.
I should have maps and stuff ready by next week.
One for one.
Exactly, right? It's like, hey, you know?
Yeah, and I guess like final act here is going to Elle now and telling her and Untamola that send for sending. There's a plan. There are people to save. Let's fucking do this.
Okay. Roll a persuasion check for me.
20. Oh, that was with advantage. 15.
Okay. Unless you beefed that, it wasn't as usual. It wasn't to determine success or failure, but rather to sort of flavor the response. I think that given their sort of new focus on the world, trying to look outward,
This is noble and attainable. I must consider whether this puts us at risk for those threats that lie closer to home, but I feel both your heart and mind are in the right place.
Every city we lose permanently takes us a step back in this war.
And yet, if this academy were to be lost, it would be a graver blow than 10 cities. Well, you are right. You are right. I will speak with the others, and when we are ready to initiate this plan, you will be the first to hear.
Thank you. And this doesn't count as our field trip, by the way.
Of course. Though it may end up being rather educational.
Don't know how many other fifth years you want to involve in this.
None.
Unlucky.
Except those two.
All right. Is there anywhere that you want to leave Athalor?
Athalor has rejoined the little high magic study circle.
Okay. Then we will pick up next week with the rescue mission, the attack on by Saparziku against your magic, Oryx's day, Mason plotline when. Sorry,
Mason season. It'll come one day.
It'll happen. Athalor season gets one extra bonus episode. It's gonna happen. But yeah, I think next week we have the infrastructure in place. We will do a giveaway for people, and we'll get them some of these void dice.
Nice. That sounds great.
Yeah, Beep created void sphere. I'm just gonna go ahead. Oh no, I clicked hidden roll. I don't want to do that. Oh, they rolled, but they're
fully voided.
So I can do the annoying dungeon master thing where I roll dice and don't tell you
goodness.
what it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
you could just do the mystery roll.
exactly. Oh,
The
this
arsehole roll.
I discovered a new feature and it pleases me greatly.
Oh, I roll perception. I roll perception. I roll perception.
Yeah, this is what the void dice look like. I think we'll start doing some giveaways with these. I'm also going to start doing some giveaways for War of the Sun cards because last week we had somebody play a card that created a pack of Hurricane Devils in the fields of Amonkharok and a band of brigands in Oryx, which may or may not show up or be involved when you go over to visit them. So War of the Sun cards can be played to affect what's going on in the outside world. I think once per episode, starting next week, I'm going to start doing giveaways for those. Something during the break. Cards at the break, dice at the end, I think.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
No detention tonight. We're going to go ahead and let you go. But thank you, all of you, for joining us for Ioth Academy, and we will see you next week.